Welcome to Rauta and to a video that so many of you have been anticipating for. Why so? Because we're talking about Steelfest 2022 festival happening here in Finland in late or mid-May 2022. That is, if nothing in the world of catastrophes and epidemics is going to stop it this time. As many of you know who are familiar to begin with the festival, that is. This is an underground and extreme metal festival, which is bigger here this time than ever before. First of all, it's gonna be 4 days instead of 2 days. It's 10th year anniversary, and this is a festival that has been already postponed for a couple of years because of COVID epidemics. So there's a lot to anticipate 4 days, a lot of things to be, happy about in and when this actually happens. And as it is, it looks like very, very positive this time. And I'm not talking about COVID positive. Anyway, I'm here to give you very basic information about the festival. That is, what kind of festival we're talking about, what kind of bands you can expect, where is this festival located, how you can actually travel there, what kind of things you really need to think about when we're talking about accommodation, and, well, other random things. First of all, for example, including the special event on the early hours of festival this year. So 4 days instead of 2 days. First of all, that means this is not some typical Friday and Saturday festival, but running from Thursday to Sunday. It's gonna be a huge booze fest for a lot of people. I mean, I don't know how their bodies can handle it, but for rest of us, we're not maybe so much booze driven, but actually going there to see some bands and to hang out with friends and, just live in and breathe in the atmosphere. This is gonna be a hell of a trip. Almost like literally. Now, first of all, people who are totally clueless about Steelfest. Like I said, it's an extreme metal fest that is mostly operating around bands of black metal or black metal related, but obviously, as with the previous years, some of the bands don't exactly fall into the box called black metal. So there's a lot of bands from other genres as well, but mostly operating with the terms of black metal. And there are lots of bands, as usual, of which even I am not very familiar with. Like some names I have just merely heard. I cannot really say one thing about their music, both good and bad. Obviously, there are lots of really cult names or bigger names, not that we're talking about mainstream names, which really should ring a bell for many of you out there, which is then again also the reason for people to come to Steelfest. Now, for many people, obviously, especially those who don't live in Finland, the main reasons are probably, the main attractions, one might say, are the Finnish black metal bands, the ones that you don't necessarily see so many times outside Finland, and which can be seen even a little bit exotic when it comes to the selection of bands here. And that is very, very special thing for people living outside in Finland. But then again, for Finns, obviously, we are looking for a little bit different set of bands. And as such, the, the whole reason to come to this festival is kind of a combination of both. Once again, depending where are you coming from, which kind of bands you like, etc. For veterans of the whole deal here, the scene, the style and all, probably a lot of names are something that you have already seen or at least been listening to multiple years. But of course, there are always some new names to be very much interested, like, hey, what is this band all about? Do they play great live and all that stuff? And of course, it can be a blessing in disguise if you're not keen to see every possible band on the bill, because that actually gives you a little bit of room to, have bio breaks, eat, talk with friends, maybe take even a nap. I don't know. But let's be honest about it. This is a wonderful lineup all in all, about 50 bands in total, and not all are even yet to be announced. That is, I have already the big list here with me, and that is still missing about roughly some 10 names. There are about 30 names which were the original Steelfest lineup from 2 years ago. Some of them have then cancelled or whatever for various reasons, and then there are some replacements, very interesting ones also, and then there will be some surprise titles, surprise names which you will soon later on. I will try to go this list through because otherwise this video will be some 30 minutes. But to mention names like Niflheim, Destroyer 666, Inquisition, Nocturnal, Mordum, Talk, Profanatic, Denial of God, Satanic Warmaster, Cadaver, Akitsa, Horna, Antimateria, Alpha Hanne, Graveland, Wormund Lord, Borgne, Infernal War, Oscolo, Miniframe, Totenvahe, White Dead Blood, Jelly, Skullmanganda, Chamber of Unlight, Commander, Agares, Azazel, Faustian Pact, Hellboozer, Union, and the news bands Sai, Blasphema, Nargaroth, Dodsvangar, Beelzebub, Morgal, Cenotaph, Agrus, Corpus Christi, Makuatl, Malignment, Star Christa. That sounds quite a bit of a names. Now let's recap some of the interesting names. First of all, we have lots of black metal names right there from various countries. Sweden, always Norway, Ukraine. We have some Danish names. Obviously, we have Finnish names. And there's plenty of interesting names. Now, some of these names are so much like, kind of a cornerstone bands that they probably don't even extra mention to be mentioned. But for example, I think bands like, for example, Borgne, the kind of industrial black metal name, is not something that you see every day. For me, it's going to be the first time, so I'm very, very interesting to see some of those names. Also seeing German black metal bands like Totenwache for the first time, and always interesting names to see on stage, which play really good gigs, are obviously bands like Satanic Warmaster, Horna, and White Death. There will be Commander Agares, never seen it. There will be Hellboozer Union, having a kind of a weird setup in terms of not being pure black metal. Of course, there will be Japanese Sai, which will be interesting one. Blasphema will be playing their very first gig in Europe, as far as I know. So these kind of names will be very, very interesting. Also, Beelzebub from Brazil will be doing some kind of a Mystifier setup with here. So there should be some special guests and all. These are not the typical gigs you will see ever, anywhere, let alone in Finland or Europe. What else? There are bands, rising names as Makuatl and, well, lots of names that have been putting out albums in recent years. Much like Malignment last year, Sar Christa just put out a new album, Morgal also. Lots of interesting names. Obviously, some of these bands are something that most people cannot care less. But then again, this is not for most people. This is for people who really like underground metal names. People who go for a very different kind of events than to see your regular Dimmu Borgir and Satyricon and all that stuff. No disrespect, I'm just saying a different audience. So now that you have some kind of understanding what kind of lineup there is present, you might have been already like buying your tickets or browsing Steelfest pages here. There's, by the way, the poster for or kind of a background image for the whole band festival. And then you have obviously this kind of going to be updated website for Steelfest, which includes all the necessary information in English. You will have the ticket names here, the camping possibilities, accommodation, whatever, everything is right here. But I'm gonna recap it so you don't have to read everything. And once you figure out whether or not you're coming to the actual festival, here it is, so you know what to really expect. First of all, how to come to Finland. If you're coming outside Finland, probably the best way is to book an airplane ticket. And then you will end up landing in Helsinki, the capital area, from which it takes roughly, depending which kind of train you're going to take, like local train, some 30-50 minutes to get to Hyvinkää. Now, if you want to make it easy for yourself, you will obviously book a hotel or the other possibilities nearby Hyvinkää, maybe in Hyvinkää. Like there are only a couple of hotels really nearby, but there are also small cities or towns nearby which you can take the local train, taking something like 5-10 minutes and then some walking, but less than 30 minutes overall to get to the venue in case you want to take a hotel. Now, if you're more on the tighter budget or if you don't just prefer having a hotel, there are two decent options for that. And this doesn't include, sleeping in your friend's house. These two accommodation possibilities are the local gym accommodation, where you can have your stuff stored. There is like 24/7 security. There's like locker rooms for people to store their valuables, and there you just, sleep with your sleeping bag and all. There will be, showers and all, so it's some kind of a old school gym area where you just take your sleeping bag, clothes, and whatever you need. And that will be relatively cheap. And actually there is now 4-day festival pass, including this gym class accommodation for 249 euros. That might sound like a lot of money, but in case you just like want to figure it out like this. First of all, it's 4 days, 4, not 3, 4 days of festivals and this accommodation. So it's, I think, pretty decent price for all that stuff. But obviously you decide for yourself. But that is very, very easy way, because there's only a few minutes walk to the venue in case you go for that area. For people who are more into rural things, might consider the camping option, where you just bring your tent and put your stuff right there. That is also something that is very decent, considering in late May it's probably quite warm, and with camping kind of a thing you can probably have your own barbecue stuff and whatever. So there is the certain kind of a, big ass outdoor festival kind of a feeling. Never been there myself in this particular case, but generally speaking, people who have been into bigger festivals like Wacken know how it's going to be when you have a camping area. You can set up your own, grills and your tent, and you can just, drink booze, cook some food, and, just hang around with like-minded people, maybe make even new friends if you're not total 100% misanthrope. So there's these 3 basic options: gym, accommodation, camping area, and hotels. Of course, if you are very good in your social networking skills, maybe you will find some friend having a bed or couch for you, or maybe you will just, hook up with some local guy or gal. Who knows what kind of a steamy night it will be. But these are now like out of options for a lot of people. And then how to get to Hyvinkää? Well, there's like a couple of options. First of all, of course, you can rent a car wherever you are living, or maybe if you're living in Finland, you can just come there with your own car and that's taken care of. Hyvinkää is not an expensive place in terms of, parking and all that stuff, so that is very, very viable option. Of course, buses and local trains are very much a possibility. And probably the only decent possibilities if you come to Finland outside, if you come to Helsinki from outside Finland, that is, you probably don't want to spend all your money on expensive taxis, cabs, like some people say. So definitely train is probably the best option if you're coming from Helsinki area. That information is very, very easy to find in local websites, both in English, Finnish, and also in some cases Swedish, if that's what you prefer. And of course you can just ask me and I will provide you the information to best of my possibilities and abilities after this video. Then what else? Well, accommodation, traveling, tickets information is very much here on the Steelfest page. Oh yeah, now because this is a 10th anniversary for Steelfest, there will be a special Sunday event, actually a couple of them. First of all, already the early Sunday, that is if you're up for that after drinking heavily on Saturday night, there will be this kind of a meeting of blacksmiths and other craft people who are, doing their profession right there out in the open with, steamy forges and, all that stuff. And you can actually buy some, craft, bracelets, probably necklaces, all kind of stuff made from metal to as souvenirs or, whatever with the festival. So there will be a bunch of blacksmiths doing their craft at the very venue. So it will be another plus to see before you actually head to the venue to see some bands and all that stuff. And more importantly, there will be this 10 year anniversary bacchanal. And that will be a kind of a special event limited to roughly 200 to 300 people. That will cost something like 29 euros, and it will include as much food as you can eat. So it's this kind of a smorgasbord or buffet, if you will. with a lot of food to be eaten, both vegan and meat friendly. There will be like full porks roasted in a spit, and there will be chefs, cutting the flesh right out from the spit. And yeah, you can just eat as much as you like. There will be alcohol, and all the artists, all bands are invited to this event as well. But because of its limited size, it will be this inside hall at the venue. This is saying 200 to 300 people. I don't know what the actual maximum amount will be. And this will start around 2 p.m. in the afternoon before the Sunday bands actually start. So this will be a very special event. It's totally optional. It's not mandatory to take part of that. So in case you just want to see bands and you care so much about eating or festivities, well, you can just skip it. But in case you want to have this some kind of a full experience, something that you don't necessarily experience, well, usually at festivals, and this will be the first time at Steelfest this kind of stuff is happening, that is the place to be. So to recap this whole idea, 4 days of bands, roughly some 50 bands, way too much for most of us to handle. And you have 3 accommodation possibilities: camping, gym area, and hotels. And then you have this special anniversary event on Sunday morning / early afternoon before the bands. Did I forget to mention something? Well, I guess all you need is some money, some good attitude. This is not a fighting ground. Nobody gives a damn what kind of political thoughts you might have. This is all about music, meeting good people, and having good time. If that doesn't suit your personal misanthropic nature or your political attitude or whatever, just stay home and keep going with your internet warrior trolling behavior and all that stuff. This is for good people, nice people, and all that stuff. Yes, there is exception to every rule and all that stuff, but mainly I've been there many times and never had any fights or nasty situations, but nothing but good time with friends, bands, and good stuff. And obviously, because Rauta is also about interviewing bands, not just talking some random stuff about festivals, I will try to schedule decent amount of bands to be interviewed right there. And in case you happen to be from one of those bands playing at Steelfest, well, you can get in touch with me if you want your band to have interviewed for that. And in case not, I will just do my own planning for the bands to be interviewed at the festival. We'll see how it turns out. We'll see how it is when getting closer to mid-May in 2022 and Hyvinkää event closing in. Once again, should you have any comments or more importantly questions about it, I will get back to you. I'm even ready to make another video coming back to you with these answers and replies in case you have something that I didn't explain, some questions or whatever. So either I will be replying or I will get the Mr. Commander from Steelfest to get me those answers and then get back to you. But you should be able to find all the necessary information at steelfest.fi website, and more information will be also shared on Steelfest's Facebook site. So keep your eyes peeled for social media updates, keep your eyes peeled for steelfest.fi site, and there you have it. I hope you have a good time. Start booking your plane tickets and accommodations and get your friends with you. See you there in Hyvinkää. Take care and bye-bye.